there is no way he's signing for a stingy owner like Daniel Levy if he wasn't promised a certain amount of money in the transfer windows. It was one of the most bizarre pieces of news so far this season. Jose Mourinho is the new manager of Tottenham Hotspur. But where did it all go wrong for Pochettino, and what will the Portuguese Mourinho be bringing to his new side? That's what we'll take a look at in the next few minutes. So first off, to Mauricio Pochettino, how can you go from leading a team out in the Champions League final to leaving them in 14th just 5 months later? Well, in all honesty, it looked like it had been coming for quite a while at Spurs. They really have had some poor form in the Premier League in 2019, and it looks as though both the players and the manager are struggling to find motivation from within each other. There have been flashes of brilliance, a few new signings after so long without some, but for Pochettino, the end of the road has come. For Spurs fans, it's been unbelievable. He's taken them to heights they've never seen before in this century, and well, given them some unbelievable memories along the way. But the time had come for him to leave because he's only taken them as far as he could. So step in Jose Mourinho. Now this one actually comes as a bit of an odd decision because, well, having left Manchester United, he became a bit of a meme almost. Long gone were the fantastic days at Real Madrid, winning Champions Leagues at Inter Milan and Porto, Premier Leagues at Chelsea. No, this was an entirely different Jose Mourinho, one who looked pretty much tired of football, and well, after a while, football was tired of him. But now at Tottenham Hotspur, there's something to be excited about. I say this because Mourinho is a winner. For those of you who think that Pochettino had a fantastic reign, he definitely did. But once you've put in all the groundwork, you've laid the foundation, you've brought in the young players, you developed them, you put a great squad together, there needs to be a trophy at the end of it. There needs to be a title victory of sorts. Now, Jose Mourinho is completely different. Of course, he won't be building the foundation. He said he's delighted to work with the academy, but I can't really see that happening. We've seen it all before. Mourinho will want ready-made players to be brought in for a ready-made team to challenge for titles. And Spurs, with all their bottling and choking in semi-finals and finals in the last few years, could definitely do with someone as mentally tough as Mourinho to go on and bring them some trophies. Now, this may be a little bit of a kick in the arse for some players. There, of course, is all the questions about Jose Mourinho's defensive tactics. The likes of Davinson Sanchez, Eric Dyer and Juan Foyth will probably develop quite nicely under Mourinho, really learn about that park the bus style of football that has followed him around for a few years. On the flip side of it, the attacking threats of Lucas Moura, Heung-min Son and Dele Alli will still be there, but they may just be required to do a little bit more of the defensive work. We saw this with the likes of Alexis Sanchez and Jesse Lingard at Manchester United, who pretty much stopped playing for him. What it does mean, though, is that within the squad, they'll be able to fish out who's ready to swim and who is definitely going to sink. This is going to be part of Mourinho's massive task ahead at Spurs. He's going to have to get rid of those who don't believe in what he's doing, and he's also going to have to get rid of those who aren't really sure about their future. Whether or not Mourinho joined or Pochettino stayed, the likes of Christian Eriksen, Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld were all going to have to sort out their contract situations. So now a new manager has come in, you'll probably actually find they start playing well. But regardless of that, Mourinho needs to put his stamp on the team, and this is where we come to the important part. It's the transfers. Notoriously in the past, as I mentioned before, Daniel Levy went 18 months without bringing in a new player to Tottenham. Pochettino wasn't backed, it was clear to see, and the fact he got to a Champions League final means he worked absolute miracles. With Jose Mourinho, he will be backed. It does sound a little bit harsh because you think, well, if he's going to back Mourinho, why didn't he back Pochettino in the first place? In my opinion, I'm not so sure he technically trusted Pochettino. Mourinho, when given money, has literal proof on his CV that he can build Championship and Champions League winning teams. Over how many years this will actually be sustained, well, that's another question altogether. He usually ends up going in his third year. But Pochettino hasn't. Pochettino's been given lots of money. He's got to finals and he just hasn't won them. Daniel Levy obviously wasn't willing to put more money into the Pochettino cause, but there's also no way that Jose Mourinho would have signed at Spurs if he wasn't promised money. There is just absolutely no chance that Mourinho, someone notorious for demanding loads out of Ed Woodward at Manchester United, right, a very rich club, and who wants players who can play now, there is no way he's signing for a stingy owner like Daniel Levy if he wasn't promised a certain amount of money in the transfer windows. If he was, then the world really has gone mad. So what does Mourinho actually mean for the future at Spurs? Well, in all honesty, it means titles and he needs to win them. This has to be the main aim. The first point is that if it brings titles, it means that Spurs will actually continue this development phase they've been in the last 4 or 5 years and justify it all. If they start with Pochettino and falling out the Europa League spaces and the Champions League spaces, well, it would look like they've been on a downhill turn. Players would have wanted to leave, Pochettino's stock would have fallen, and Spurs would be back in the dark ages. With Mourinho, if they win trophies, it's a big if, I'm not saying it will work, but it makes sense at the moment, they'll be able to keep players like Kane, like Son, like Ali, under the promise that the club matches their own ambitions. And we're bringing players in. Players will know they'll be able to come to Spurs under a manager who wants to win trophies and a team that is winning trophies. For example, take the Paulo Dybala move in the summer, for example. Now, I know there was talk about all his image rights and Levy wouldn't pay the money and all this sorts, but personally, I'm not so sure Dybala really wanted to join that much. And that could be down to the fact he wouldn't see himself being successful. He's at Juventus. He's used to winning a load of trophies, just like all the top players in the world are. If Pochettino sat down at the table and said, hey, we're going to develop you, make you a better player, all this and that, Dybala was in every right to turn around and probably say, you know what, I'm a pretty good player as it is to get to this position. I want to win trophies. I'm getting to the prime of my career. I'm entering my late 20s, 26 he almost is. I need to be winning trophies. So when Mourinho sits down, he can put all his trophies in a row. He can wear all of his winners' medals and be like, this is what I'm bringing to the club. Do you want to join? That is where I think Mourinho can bring in some massive names for Spurs. They do need another centre-back. They need 2 new fullbacks and potentially another striker to help push Harry Kane to become even better than he already is. So to sum it all up, Jose Mourinho for me is actually a pretty good choice. If you had all the CVs and resumes of managers lined out in front of you, if you look at what he's won, which is more than Spurs have won in their whole history, there's no way you could say he's a bad choice. Whether it will work out or not is a completely different matter, but you guys can let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Will Mourinho be a success, or will we see a complete and utter meltdown once again? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.